all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win. Now the 2-1. Line drive to the base hit. Justice has scored the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is safe. Safe at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
Have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines that sat when they were children and cheered their heroes.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable!
A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent. The Yankees now lead it by a score of 3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Ford Field to win the 1960 World Series.
They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past.
The Pope arrived at Yankee Stadium. As one enthusiastic announcer put it, he is standing on second base.
Reggie Jackson. Long drive right field. It is goodbye. Big World Series for Reggie Jackson.
The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run.
Back and throws. There's a left back. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the paddock. The Giants from the paddock. The Giants from the paddock.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
The memories will be so thick that I can brush them with my faces.
The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings long drive left field. If it stays fair, it's gone. Home run. The Red Sox win. And the series is...
Lolich fires. Ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins.
Here's the pitch to Willie. There's a liner straight to Richardson. The ball game is over and the World Series is over. Willie McCovey hit it like a bullet. A line drive right.
Baseball to mark the time.
The Oakland A's take.
I'll tell you what, we're having an earth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Candlestick Park for Game 3 of the 1989 World Series.
It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again.
Frank Robinson, the right-hand batter.
Long drive to left field. Way back. Gets it back.
Base hit loaded, 1 out. Pena in a chance. The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it.
Ozzie with 1 out. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run. And the
Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
Broadcasted live.
Hey! Who wants to have some fun?
There are balls coming from all over the place. Left field, center field, right field. See, this is the kind of thing, quite honestly, right now, that makes you want to see the Chicago Cubs team lose.
Now, you just saying you want to have fun, or do you really want to have fun?
It'll be fun.
Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, and get them out of here? You don't live in Cleveland. Get in Cincinnati.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
That is the farthest thing in the universe from the truth.
Hello, everyone, live. It's the Dan Scott Show. And right there is your host, Dan Scott.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this Monday edition of the show. I am your host, Dan Scott, and we are excited to be here on what we think is going to be a good day for some sports talk, especially from a Furman perspective. Kind of overcast here in the upstate as we look out across the playing field here at Paladin Stadium towards Paris Mountain. Man, what a sight it was at Paladin Stadium this weekend. Furman, its most complete game of the year without question, and the results bared that out as they just walloped to the number 4 team in the country, the Wofford Terriers, 34-14, and just led from literally start to finish. Went right down the field on the first possession, 75 yards, got the touchdown, got up 14-0, and never looked back. Wofford made it 14-7. But then the Paladins scored again to make it 21-7 at the half, got up 27-7 before Wofford scored again in the second half, and then put it away with a Harris Roberts quarterback sneak from the goal line for the final at 34-14. So big day for Harris Roberts individually, big day for the Paladins as a team. And now the sights get set on this Saturday, again back here at Paladin Stadium, for homecoming against the Sanford Bulldogs. And we're going to kind of talk about where Furman is right now and what you're starting to see as some possibilities moving forward following the 0-3 start. I mean, it's really intriguing to see how the script has played out almost exactly like it did 1 year ago to this point. A lot of football to be played, a lot of challenges lie ahead, but I think you're beginning to see that this team is getting more and more comfortable. Harris Roberts is playing better and better at the quarterback spot now that he's healthy, and it's bearing out in the results. It was a fun afternoon. How fun? Well, how about we let you hear a little bit of it, some of the highlights from the 34-14 win over the Wofford Terriers. Here's what it sounded like in miniature. Gain of 5, second down and 5. Double wing. Receiver split to each side. Roberts dropping straight back to throw. Forced to roll out to his right. Throwing back into the middle of the field. Complete. Big play inside the 30. Down to the 28-yard line. And again, it's Thomas Gordon brought down by the outside linebacker in coverage, John Beckley, but a big play for the Paladins to the Terrier 29. Roberts play action rolling, throwing back. He's got a man open inside the 10, inside the 5, touchdown. Darius Moorhead. He's the one that Roberts faked the handoff to. The entire flow came to the right, and Moorhead slipped out to the left. Roberts, a perfect throw, and the Paladins right down the field, 75 yards for a score.
Yeah, just great play design there from George Quarles, and just great execution, as you called it. Sort of hid Moorhead behind the big boys on the play fake, and he was able to sneak out of the backfield, and he's in one-on-one coverage, and Roberts just laid it out perfectly. Great opening drive for the Paladins.
Now you got first and goal. They'll go pistol with a back behind and to the left of Roberts, receiver to each side, and they'll fake the handoff left, come option to the right. Roberts fakes the pitch inside the 5, diving to the goal line, and touchdown. Oh, Harris Roberts with a great ball fake. Bought himself enough of a crease to get to about the 2, and then just by force of will, got to the goal line. Touchdown, Paladins.
That is a clinical exhibition of how the quarterback needs to run the option in a short yardage situation. He stopped, stuttered, faked a couple of times, and then used his big frame to get those last couple of yards, but just a great job of punching that ball in the end zone again.
Third down. 2 receivers each side. Roberts rolling to his right, throwing Wynn, makes the catch inside the 5, turns it up, dives, pylon. Did he get in or did he step out of bounds? Touchdown!
Yeah, great design there. Again, we hit Wynn on the sideline, and Roberts rolled out and delivered the football, and Wynn went from the 5 to the goal line in about a half a second. Great execution on that third down.
And play action to the left, rolling to his right. Roberts throwing, end zone touchdown! Ryan DeLuca He had one in the back of the end zone. DeLuca was in the front of the end zone, and Roberts found number 83 for the score, his third touchdown pass of the afternoon. It is 27-7 Purple. Furman looking for what very well could be a knockout punch against the number 4 team in the country. 3rd and goal, Roberts pushing forward again. It's a scrum touchdown. Call comes from the far side. Harris Roberts on the 3rd attempt forces it in, and Furman up 33-14 now with 9:10 to go in this baby.
If at first you don't succeed, you try again, but just a good job there of Roberts of being physical. You didn't need to get a whole lot, but all that matters is it's a Furman touchdown. Great job on offense of driving this ball down the field here.
So that's a little snapshot of the 34-14 win. In case you were not counting, Harris Roberts accounted for all 5 of Furman's touchdowns on Saturday. 3 touchdown passes and 2 runs from the quarterback spot. This young man is starting to feel more and more comfortable running this offense, and it's fun to see. So now at 2-3 overall, 2-1 in the league, you have to kind of check yourself, because with the wins in back-to-back weeks over Western and Wofford, it makes you want to go back and look at that East Tennessee State game and say to yourself, oh, man, did again we let one get away? And obviously you did, blowing a 21-point lead. And right now, and that was with about 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, mind you. Right now, it looks like ETSU is the possessor of the golden shallot, or whatever it is that brings you luck in the course of a football season in this league, because they snuck their foot out of the trap again this weekend in Charlotte 14. Mercer went on the road at Yale, fell behind big early, rallied, but came up short 35-28. There's the ETSU win over the Citadel 26-23. Samford kind of played around with VMI for part of the first half and then turned it on and rolled to the 73-22 win. And Chattanooga, no trouble with Western Carolina, 26-6. So upcoming this week, Paladins back here against Samford. 2 o'clock start. It's homecoming here at Paladin Stadium, and we're going to talk a lot more about this game and what's really on the line here for Clay Hendricks' club as the week goes on. Military battle, Citadel at VMI at 1:30. ETSU at Wofford also at 1:30. Western Carolina at Mercer, 4 p.m. Chattanooga has the weekend off. And I don't know where that came from, but this is where we are right now. We need to take a break. When we come back, Don Clardy is going to be with us, by the way, and he's going to give us his thoughts on what we saw Saturday, and also look at Week 5 of the 1988 championship season, going on the road to my home state of West Virginia to take on the Marshall University Thundering Herd that year. We'll talk about that and much more with Don Clardy. But first, the show is presented daily by Carolina Creative, not just simply brilliant. Randy and his staff, they are the ones who put together my website, thedanscottshow.com. Would dearly love for you to go spend some time there, and you'll find all kinds of stuff, especially on the resource page. But they do fantastic work for businesses big and small, logos, websites, brand development, marketing. They do it all, and they're just phenomenal about it. 18 years in the business now and still going strong, getting stronger, and getting better. That's Carolina Creative. You'll hear more about them as we head to the break, and we'll come back with Don Clardy on the other side. Stay with us. Hey, everybody, Dan Scott here, and I want to tell you about my technology partner, Carolina Creative Group. When my show needed a creative technology boost, I turned to Carolina Creative Group. My custom design website is going to take marketing as well as brand strategy and development to new levels. The search engine optimization means that my clients' ads will be seen by more people more often. And if I have any questions, Carolina Creative Group is just a phone call away. Friends, that is just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. You can find out all the ways that Carolina Creative Group can help your business by simply calling 864-250-2012. Again, that's 864-250-2012, or simply visit them online at carolinacreative.co. Carolina Creative Group, technology partner of the Dan Scott Show.
If you're looking for the perfect frame for that special photo or painting, Custom Corners Frame Shop in Seneca can deliver for you. Family owned for nearly 4 decades, Trevor and the folks at Custom Corners Frame Shop pride themselves on quality, presentation, and professionalism. They offer picture framing for every budget, and every job is custom. Custom Corners Frame Shop also sells work from local artists as well as locally themed gifts. For more information, visit them at 289 Market Street in Seneca. Call 864-882-7736 or find them on Facebook, Custom Corners Frame Shop in Seneca.
Imagine a university. A university where your passion for protecting local water sources is encouraged. And now, your work not only benefits your career, but the health of those in your community and around the world. This is Furman. This is the Furman Advantage.
Dan Scott here for the Atlanta Bread Company. What do I like about Atlanta Bread? Well, too much to mention in a short commercial, but here are a few things. Bread baked daily fresh on site, a tremendous selection of soup, sandwiches, and salads, seasonal special additions to the menu, delicious hot coffee, and a bevy of other drink options. And yeah, can't forget about the baked sweet goodies. Dine in or carry out, and when you have the Atlanta Bread Company app, you can order and pay online, then breeze past the lines to the pickup counter to get your food. Experience it for yourself. That's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherrydale Point in Greenville.
When you go in search of a fence company, what's your criteria? Experience? Trust? A company that gets it right the first time and stands behind its work? Then your search is over. Faulkner Fence has been Greenville's fence company for more than 40 years. Ed Faulkner started the business, and now son Todd continues the tradition of excellence. So regardless of your fencing needs, commercial, industrial, or residential, trust the company that Greenville has trusted for over 4 decades. Faulkner Fence, 864-271-4626, or online at FaulknerFenceCompany.com.
Let me tell you something, Cowboy. This rookie can really bring the heat.
He's smoky and spicy with a Chipotle style all his own.
It's a new Montgomery Inn Chipotle barbecue sauce. Make it a part of your home team.
Available now at your neighborhood grocer or online at CincyFavorites.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. I am Dan Scott. It is this Monday edition of the program, and we're very happy to have you with us. Going right to the celebrity guest line now and bringing in Don Clardy, the former member, I guess technically always a Paladin, but a member of the 88 National Championship team. He was a sophomore wide receiver on that team. If you are not familiar with what we're doing each and every Monday, Don is coming on and giving us a thought on the Furman game that was just completed, but then we are going week by week through the 88 championship season with Don, getting his thoughts and reflections on that year's team on a weekly basis. And, of course, it's the 30th anniversary. Hashtag Diamonds Are Forever. That's what we're doing here on campus. And Don is here to make all of that sound more interesting than I ever could. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Dan. The physical therapy and rehab is going well, and I hope to join you out there soon without hobbling in on crutches. That's the goal. So.
Well, we do have an elevator here, so I mean, crutches are okay. We can still get you up here, but good to hear things are coming along. So, what'd you think about Saturday? I said earlier that it was our most complete effort of the season. I don't really think that's in question at all. Do you?
No, I don't think so, and I think the offense is kind of taking a position of playing like they're behind, no matter what the score is. You notice there wasn't much conservative play. Just a great job of mixing up the running game, the passing game. I think Harris Roberts continues to gain confidence, which allows them to be more diverse in their offense. But
Yep.
I think the thing that most stood out to me is how many skill position playmakers they have. Gordon comes up big where he's kind of disappeared a little bit the last few weeks. Moorhead has another big player too. You've got Wynn coming in at running back. They just got so many people. DeLuca catching a touchdown pass. We hadn't really heard much from him since he scored in the Clemson game, but I just haven't seen that kind of depth in the skill positions and guys that can do specific things really well.
Yeah, and then how about a couple of the rookies, DeJuan Bell and Corey Watkins. The Watkins kid to me is really intriguing because he is explosive out of the backfield. I mean, I know that he's got some pretty good guys ahead of him right now, but when he gets an opportunity, it seems like he always makes something happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of those guys. And again, the point is, a couple of games ago, we would have been talking about them as headliners, and then you see all these other guys making plays. It's nice, especially in the world we live in where there's a lot of injuries and guys get beat up and banged up, especially as the season goes on, to know that you've got that many folks who can step up and make big plays for them. It's huge, I think.
What about the defensive performance? It seems to me that if you need a defensive coordinator to stop somebody or slow somebody who runs the option, Chad Staggs is your guy.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And even when you compare it to last year, though, struggled more, particularly in the playoff game to stop Wofford. So they obviously learned from what they weren't able to accomplish last year and just did a phenomenal job. The guy that stood out is obviously the linebacker. McCoy was all over the field. But there were other, everybody, if you're going to stop the option the way Wofford runs it, everyone on the defense has to do their assignment, has to do their job. So, that means all the defensive linemen and defensive backs are playing their roles, and it frees up that linebacker. So if everybody else is doing what they're supposed to, your linebackers should be getting a lot of tackles. And I think, both of our inside linebackers really did make a ton of tackles. So they did it just the way you should do it.
Visiting with Don Clardy from the 88 National Championship team, getting a few thoughts on what Furman and Wofford displayed here on Saturday, a 34-14 Paladin victory. You got to feel great for Harris Roberts, seeing him settle into this quarterback spot now, his third straight start after the injury, and really the only meaningful playing time he's ever had in his career as a fifth-year senior, and he just continues to get better and better and better. Accounted, Don, for all 5 touchdowns the Paladins scored this week.
Yeah, and obviously he's the best passer that they have, and that's a lot of the reason that he's in there. But it's nice to see him gain confidence, running some option. He had a big run down the field against Western Carolina last week, had several nice runs this week, including the touchdown where he kind of had to run over the last guy to get it in the end zone. So I think that's kind of bonus points if we can get him running the ball occasionally, because obviously George Quarles, he wants his quarterback to be a threat to run. So if he can do that effectively and continue to throw it well, I think their offense just continues to gain confidence and get better every week, which I think they're going to need to do because you've got some big offenses with some big passing games coming in front of them in the future here. So I think they're going to have to score some points.
Yeah, no question about it. It's funny, some of his teammates call him Harry Football, and he definitely was that here on Saturday. So 34-14, Paladins win it. A totally different challenge coming up with Samford next week, and we'll get a chance to talk about that, obviously, next Monday. All right, let's go back to 1988. We are on week 5 of that season. The 88 Paladins are 3-1 and 1-0 in the Southern Conference, and you're heading on the road to play Marshall up in Huntington, West Virginia.
Right, huge game. As I said, they had made, I think, the 1AA championship game the year prior, but we had an unbelievable game with them at Furman where we had beaten them in overtime. So it was payback time from their perspective. You're from that neck of the woods. And, Marshall football is huge up there. We knew it was going to be a crazy, wild crowd. And my understanding from Coach Satterfield's coaches show was that was the biggest crowd they had ever had in that stadium for that game that day. So, it was just an electric atmosphere. In the Southern Conference at that time, that was probably the best place to play, just as far as the crowd were on you. They're on top of you. They're spitting on you, throwing stuff at you. I mean, it was that kind of crowd that we were up against.
Yeah, and I know we talked about it briefly a couple of weeks ago because you couldn't be with us last week, kind of previewing this for people who may remember it. It's not the stadium that the Herd plays in now. It was old Fairfield Stadium, which they kind of the nickname was the hockey rink because the field was kind of below ground level a little bit, and you had these 7 or 8 foot high walls that surrounded the entire field, and it gave it kind of that feel to it. And there was not very much room from the sidelines to the stands. So yeah, I mean, it was a crowd that was right on top of you, and yeah, they were a little rowdy back in those days, and I'm sure they probably still are.
Yeah, and that, it gave them a little extra confidence too, because like you said, the walls were about 10 feet high. So if they did something or threw something or spit on somebody, we couldn't jump up there and get to them. So that made them even crazier and wilder. I just always remember to this day that being the wildest place, and just their fans were just fanatical, and it was just a crazy place to play a football game. So a great atmosphere. As a player, you love going into that. You love trying to silence that kind of crowd. That's what you live for when you go on the road.
So you went in, obviously, with a lot of confidence. The defense had been playing phenomenally, but this would be one of the few times in the 88 season when things did not go Furman's way.
Yeah, from the get-go, really, they ran a trick play, I think, on the opening kickoff and almost took it all the way for a score. But I think their passing game was leading the conference. They had a small receiver, Mike Barber, who went on to play in the NFL. They had a great all-conference, I think, all-American tight end. I think his name was Sean Doctor, who just phenomenal, good quarterback at that time. So they really had a passing game, and this was the biggest test by far we had seen from a true, good passing game to date in that 88 season.
So kind of walk us through how the game unfolded.
Well, actually, we kind of shocked them early when we had, again, Kenneth Goldsmith took off for about a 60-yard run. I think one of the best runs I saw that year. He had 3 guys on him as he, just went up, took a handoff up the middle, kind of met contact about a yard down the field from 2 or 3 guys, and they kind of all just fell off of him. He spun, and he outran the defense 60 yards for a touchdown. So we were able to quiet the stadium briefly, but they came right back, mostly throwing the ball, came right back, tied it up. They went on just to slowly and methodically take the lead. One of the big things that day, we had, I think, 3 4th and 1s in their territory that we failed to capitalize on, and we ended up having 4 interceptions. So I think both teams had a little over 300 yards of offense. Most of theirs was passing. Most of ours was running, which would be expected. I think just the turnovers and the big plays on 4th and short that we were not able to make is kind of what resulted in the final margin of score being 24-10.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, and these things all run together, especially as you get older. But, you mentioned Mike Barber, you mentioned Sean Doctor. Was Tony Peterson the quarterback that year?
No, I think it was Gregory. Was he the next one? His last name, Gregory, left-hander?
Because
I think he was that year in 89. I think he was their quarterback.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Okay. You're exactly right. Gregory was the quarterback. We're visiting with Don Clardy, the sophomore wide receiver on the 88 National Championship team. as we continue to go week by week through that championship year. So for your first conference loss, your second loss of the season, what was the locker room like? What was the ride home like?
I tell you, that was a tough one, and particularly for me, I think that was probably personally the worst game I had individually. I made a couple of mistakes. I had a ball thrown up that I let a defensive back kind of go up over me and intercept. That was one of those interceptions. Just didn't have a great game. So I know me personally, I was really down after that game. And, obviously that was a huge game for us as far as us being able to achieve our goals, but being the first conference loss, we knew we still had an opportunity. So I think it was just a mentality of, hey, let's get back to work and make this right. And we really didn't have time to feel sorry for ourselves because we had Appalachian State next, and they hadn't lost a conference game in the last year or two, or last couple of years at their place. So we were going right back on the road at Appalachian State. And so we just had to move on from it and get ready for the next game and find a way to win, or, we really were going to be in trouble if we take 2 losses in a row at that point.
Yeah, and again, if you've not been kind of following with us since we started this at season's beginning, one of the really cool things about all of this we're doing with Don is the fact that he has all of the old Jimmy Satterfield TV shows from that year that he recorded. So he's able to go back and watch those and get a nice refresher on these things. What was Coach Satterfield saying on his show after that loss?
Again, he was trying to stay upbeat and positive. He said we played well enough to win in general, but the turnovers, the big plays, what I mentioned basically just prevented us from having a chance to win that game. So we knew there were some things we needed to get right. Frankie DeBus, that was his, I think, 3rd game starting, and that was a big game for him. And he obviously, like I, had one of his worst games of the season. So I think it's the focus was on, okay, let's eliminate these mistakes. We've got to be able to make those 4th and 1s at key times. So it really just gave us things to work on. So I think from his perspective, he could easily look positively because he knew he would get our focus and attention at practice the next week, and then we'd have to go back to work. So nobody likes losing those games, but if you can turn it into something positive for the rest of the season, I think that's the goal.
Yeah, practice wasn't going to hurt him a bit, was it?
It was not. Hurt his voice a little bit, but that's about it. Probably.
Did you have an inkling then? Because we know how it plays out in the future. Did you have an inkling then that you might see them again?
I think it was too early. With that being our first conference game, we probably really didn't know. I mean, it ended up working out that way, and we love the fact that we got to go back up there in the playoffs and kind of get our redemption. But I don't know. I just think it was too early in the conference season to even think about that fact at that point.
So at this juncture in that championship season, you're 3-2, and you're 1-1 in conference play after 5 total games, the 2 losses to Clemson and to Marshall. So that's where you stand right now, and it's Appalachian State on the road, correct?
Correct, on the road.
So that'll be where we go next week. Don, tell everybody what you do at Northwestern Mutual and how you can help them if they need help.
Yeah, we've talked about a number of things, and a lot of the core of it is financial planning. Retirement planning is a big piece of it for folks. And, one element of that people don't understand the complexity of, and I've mentioned it in one of our past calls, Social Security planning is huge. Social Security comes into play, obviously, in retirement, but if a parent passes away, if someone becomes disabled, Social Security becomes a big part of the income that people receive in all of those cases. And there's a lot of complex decision making, specifically in retirement. You can take Social Security as early as age 62 or as late as age 70. And the benefit is significantly higher the longer you wait. But things like your health, what your benefits are going to be, there are so many components and pieces to that. So, one of the things we help people with when they are looking at their retirement is just making sure they make the best decision about Social Security. Same thing if, again, somebody, the main breadwinner passes away, there's a benefit that goes down, that goes to the spouse and potentially to children, depending on the situation. Talked last week about special needs planning. If you have a person or a child with special needs, there's an element to Social Security around that. So I would say that's just a huge piece of your planning, whether it be retirement or any kind of risk management, is understanding how Social Security works and making the best decision there. So that's something we really try to help folks with that you don't hear spoken of a lot.
And the best way for people to get in touch with you is?
Yep. The email address is don.clardy@n as in Northwestern, m as in mutual.com. And the line at work, 864-679-3849.
Well, listen, enjoyed it and looking forward to next week when we talk about going up to Appalachian State, and looking forward to seeing you back here in studio soon.
Yeah, man. Look forward to it, Dan. Thanks as always.
All right, Don. That is Don Clardy from the 88 National Championship team and from Northwestern Mutual. We'll step aside and come back and continue with more on this Monday edition of the show right after this.
For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant more life-changing wishes. Visit Make-A-Wish online now. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Hall's Chop House in downtown Greenville is the Greenville Steakhouse. Why? Well, it starts with the Allen Brothers Prime Steaks out of Chicago. The rest of the menu falls into place there. But it really goes beyond that. It's their level of service, their commitment to that service. The place is packed every night, and yet Billy and his staff have a way of making you and your table feel like you're the most important table in the place. They have lunch on Fridays and Saturdays, brunch on Sundays, live music every time the doors are open. The Greenville Steakhouse is Hall's Chop House, Main Street, downtown. Tell them you heard about them on the Dan Scott Show.
Mayhem is everywhere.
I'm a fight in the stadium parking lot. One of us was rooting for the home team. The other was also rooting for the home team, but misheard the first one. Them's fighting words. Now we're working this out all over your car. And this could last a while because we're evenly matched. We're both big. We're both better at punching stuff than doing puzzles. We both think Italy's in South America. We both peaked somewhere between 8th grade and the second time we took 8th grade. Oh, and while you were gone, we've both been rammed repeatedly by the other into your car. Our already scarred faces will heal, but if you've got cut rate insurance, you could be living with these dents. So get Allstate, where agents help keep you protected from mayhem. Like me.
Are you in good hands?
In Easley, it's Ray Williams, Allstate, 864-859-7504.
Looking for a great car, but your credit needs work? Premier Automotivations is a professional referral service motivated to help you drive a car you love while rebuilding your credit. Late model cars of all kinds. Premier Automotivations can get you on the road and your credit on the road to recovery today. Serving all of upstate South Carolina, it's Premier Automotivations. Call Sherry today at 864-722-3785 or email cricketgravely@gmail.com.
Go the Distance Performance Coaching offers individualized coaching for distance runners of all ability levels, beginner to seasoned runner, and exists to help you achieve your running goals. All training plans are custom built, tailor-made just for you based on your experience, current fitness level, injury history, and goals. You're going to receive expert coaching from Hall of Fame runner Brock Bailey, and Coach Brock is ready to help you go the distance. You can find out everything you need to know about Go the Distance Performance Coaching and Brock Bailey at the website gocoach.run. Gocoach.run. That's
And
Go
look
the
who's
Distance
coming
Performance
up.
Coaching. All right, welcome back to the show. We continue live here on this Monday edition, 10:36. Hope that your morning is going well. You may have seen because I meant to do this and I forgot, and I actually just kind of got reminded of it late, and so I was trying to get it set for us to kind of enjoy here today. But from a baseball standpoint, we're in the playoffs right now. The American League and National League Championship Series are both tied at a game apiece. 30 years ago today was Game 1 of the 1988 World Series between the Oakland A's and the Los Angeles Dodgers. The A's were beginning a period of 3 consecutive years where they would make the World Series. They would only win it once in 1989. And the 1988 Dodgers were a very interesting group, to say the least. That was the year, of course, that Oral Hershiser set the record for consecutive scoreless innings. That's the year that they recycled a veteran catcher from the Baltimore Orioles by the name of Rick Dempsey. And it was also the year that they signed a guy by the name of Kirk Gibson as a free agent in the offseason and brought him in to that team. And there's a story going all the way back to spring training, which is not your often your most intense time of the year because of just the nature of what goes on, especially for veteran players who know that their place on the roster is secure. But there's a story going all the way back to spring training in 1988, how Kirk Gibson basically just went ballistic on his teammates because they weren't working hard enough in his estimation. They weren't being serious enough in his estimation. He said he didn't sign here to come over and play with a bunch of losers, and probably a little more colorful language than that, and I'm paraphrasing from what I can recall off the top of my head. But bottom line was, it kind of set the tone early for that team, and Kirk Gibson became an inspirational leader for those Dodgers in the 1988 season. Well, late in the year, Gibson seriously injured a hamstring and tried to play through it. And by the time the World Series came around, it was not expected that he was going to be able to play at all. In fact, he only had one at-bat in the entire 1988 World Series, and it happened in Game 1. It happened in the 9th inning at Dodger Stadium with the Dodgers trailing, and it became one of the great moments in World Series history. Normally, all you see is just the clip, but here is the entire at-bat as called by the legendary Vin Scully on Dodger radio at the time. This is the 1988 World Series moment for Kirk Gibson. Check it out.
And look who's coming up. To him to light the fire, and all year long he answered the demands until he was physically unable to start tonight with 2 bad legs, the bad left hamstring and the swollen right knee. And with 2 out, you talk about a roll of the dice. This is it. If he hits the ball on the ground, I would imagine he would be running 50% to first base. So the Dodgers trying to catch lightning right now. Fouled away. He was, complaining about the fact that with the left knee bothering him, he can't push off. Well, now he can't push off and he can't land.
He's going to use all arms. Look at his crowd on its feet. What a tribute.
4-3 A's. 2 out, 9th inning. Not a bad opening act.
Mike Davis, by the way, has stolen 7 out of 10. If you're wondering about Lasorda throwing the dice again. Fouled away again.
And he's staying on an outside corner. He's not going to give him a ball to pull. With Davis, he just missed. But here's 2 quick strikes, both fastballs that kind of tail away the outside part. Hasse is not even flirted with the inside part of that plate.
You saw Dave Duncan gesturing. He was gesturing to Carney Lansford at third. 0-2 to Gibson. The infield is back with 2 out and Davis at first. Now Gibson during the year, not necessarily in this spot, but he was a threat to bunt. No way tonight, no wheels.
They're plenty deep in the outfield and a lot of room. They're playing him straight away in center field. Look at it, right down the line. He's a threat now with 2 strikes.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Little nubber foul. And it had to be an effort to run that far. Gibson was so banged up, he was not introduced. He did not come out onto the field before the game.
You can really see the limp. He's not driving that ball. It was by him. Let's see, he's really he almost has to talk to his legs and say, hey, let's go, we got to get out of here.
It's one thing to favor one leg, but you can't favor 2.
No way, and that's what he's trying to do. He really is.
0-2 to Gibson. Ball 1. And a throw down to first. Davis just did get back. Good play by Ron Hasse using Gibson as a screen. He took a shot at the runner, and Mike Davis didn't see it for that split second, and that made it close.
A lot of times what you do, you'll give a sign to the first baseman, say, now be there. They call it now be there play. If I get the ball, I'm going to throw it. 14 fastballs in a row. That's all he's been throwing.
There goes Davis, and it's fouled away. So Mike Davis, who had stolen 7 out of 10 and carrying the tying run, was on the move.
They wanted to give Gibson a good shot at it with 2 strikes, but with the 2 strikes, Davis a threat, as we said, because the blue pit will score that big run.
Gibson shaking his left leg, making it quiver like a horse, trying to get rid of a troublesome fly. 2-2. Mike Scioscia can only sit now and sweat it out. He led off the inning and popped up. Tony La Russa is 1 out away from win number 1.
Here's the big pitch. He's got to make it happen on this one.
2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 out.
Those extra steps that Davis will get if the count goes to 3-2 are very big. So Hasse and Eckersley want that pitch of decision right here.
There he goes, way outside. He's stolen it.
Hasse started to throw and kind of bumped Gibson, but it was way too late. Davis was way down there, almost as if he could have walked in. Not a bad pitch to handle for Hasse outside. Now watch when he starts to throw. Look at Gibson. And Harvey says, no, he had the base stolen.
So Mike Davis, the tying run, is at second base with 2 out. Now the Dodgers don't need the muscle of Gibson as much as a base hit. And on deck is the leadoff man, Steve Sachs. 3-2. Sachs waiting on deck, but the game right now is at the plate. High fly ball into right field. In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened. And now the only question was, could he make it around the base paths unassisted?
I'll tell you, there are those who say that it's what happens after the base on balls, but it's the base on balls that makes it so bad. A home run would have tied it, but the walk gives him the win. And Eckersley, who doesn't walk that many, really gets burned here. Watch Lasorda.
You know, I said it once before, a few days ago, that Kirk Gibson was not the most valuable player, that the most valuable player for the Dodgers was Tinkerbell. But tonight, I think Tinkerbell backed off for Kirk Gibson. And look at Eckersley, shocked to his toe. They are going.
If you love the game of baseball like I do, the reason I wanted to play the entire thing rather than just the clip, which would have been dramatic enough in its own right, but to listen to Vin Scully craft the story and listen and watch as the tension built and mounted pitch by pitch by pitch by pitch. It was incredible. Vin Scully at his best, I think. Of course, he was rarely at anything but his best. Bob Costas tells a story about that moment, too, in which he was, I believe, if I remember correctly, he was in the Dodger dugout, part of the television coverage, and was going to be assigned to the clubhouse, Dodger clubhouse, which they thought was going to be the losing clubhouse. And as the late innings commenced, Gibson got up, started to stretch and loosen as much as he could, and then went into the batting cages under the stands behind the dugout and started taking swings, started trying to see what he could do, if anything. And one of the coaches came out after that was done to report to Lasorda, and the way Costas framed it, he said it was like a scene out of a B movie or a line out of a B movie. He said Gibson said he thought he had one good swing in him, and that was the result. Pretty cool. 30 years ago today, 1988 World Series, that was the only at-bat, the only appearance Gibson made in that entire World Series, and of course, it set the tone for the Dodgers going on and winning it. We'll take a break. We'll come back and get set to close out today's show right after this. Stay with us. When you're looking for the home of a lifetime, you need a realtor you can trust. With more than 27 years' experience selling real estate, Gel Sartain is the choice to help the discriminating buyer find the home of their dreams. Licensed in both South Carolina and Georgia, Gel specializes in homes on beautiful lakes Hartwell and Kiwi, as well as the surrounding areas, and has a wealth of experience working with people with technical backgrounds. Now is the time to buy, sell, and invest in real estate in the Clemson-Seneca area. Let Gail help you realize that dream today. Call her at 404-317-3171. That's Gail Sartain, a member of the National Association of Realtors.
We're all trying to find our way, forge a path, blaze a trail. The work is hard and the work is personal, but you can't do it alone. At Furman, we're committed to giving you an advantage, the Furman Advantage. We know that graduates who are emotionally supported and who have deep learning experiences in college are 3 times as likely to be engaged at work and thriving in life. At Furman, all students are guaranteed 4 years of rigorous classroom education integrated with high-impact research, internships, study away, and a community of support every step of the way. This is the Furman Advantage.
Hey everybody, Dan Scott. You know, I've been telling you for some time now that I switched to protection of my home and family to Security Complete. I can tell you that I've been ecstatic with the results. Locally owned with more than 40 years experience in the industry, Security Complete uses nothing but the latest technology, which equals low overhead, which equals greater savings to the customer. Fully automated systems with monitoring rates much lower than the competition. Security Complete gives you all this and does not require a contract of any length. Find out more by calling 864-546-0630 or find them on Facebook and Twitter. Security Complete, my first line of defense. Make them yours today.
Let me tell you something, Cowboy. This rookie can really bring the heat.
He's smoky and spicy with a Chipotle style all his own.
It's a new Montgomery Inn Chipotle barbecue sauce. Make it a part of your home team.
Available now at your neighborhood grocer or online at CincyFavorites.com.
Hey everybody, Dan Scott here, and I want to tell you about my technology partner, Carolina Creative Group. When my show needed a creative technology boost, I turned to Carolina Creative Group. My custom design website is going to take marketing as well as brand strategy and development to new levels. The search engine optimization means that my clients' ads will be seen by more people more often. And if I have any questions, Carolina Creative Group is just a phone call away. Friends, that is just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. You can find out all the ways that Carolina Creative Group can help your business by simply calling 864-250-2012. Again, that's 864-250-2012, or simply visit them online at carolinacreative.co. Carolina Creative Group, technology partner of the Dan Scott Show. All right, we're back. Final quick segment to wrap things up, and hope the rest of your Monday goes well. We will, as the week goes on, obviously be spending more and more time talking about Furman and Samford here at Paladin Stadium, homecoming for Furman. Coming up later on Furman's Facebook page, the Furman Athletics Facebook page, it'll be episode 3 of Furman Sports Weekly. I'll be recording that early this afternoon, and the guest will be head football coach Clay Hendricks. So you'll want to make sure that you are looking for that sometime later in the afternoon, probably around 5 o'clock or so. That will be released on the Furman Facebook page, and we will talk about Wofford, and we'll talk about the upcoming homecoming match with Samford. So a lot of stuff to get to, and we look forward to doing it all week long. We've got Dave Glenn, of course, on Wednesday to take us through the Atlantic Coast Conference and our usual stuff as the weekend goes on. Listen, have yourself a great day. As always, we encourage you here at the end of the program, go out and make a positive difference in somebody else's life. And we'll see you back here same time tomorrow. Until then, I'm Dan Scott saying God bless you, and so long, everybody.